Welcome to the Rich Stylist Podcast. I'm Ashley Diana, business coach for hair extension pros and founder of Rich Stylist Academy. I'll be your guide as you begin to attract your dream clients, create amazing extension transformations, and have your bank account overflowing with cash. Let's go. Welcome to the Rich Stylist Podcast. This is Ashley. In this episode, I chat with Liza Edwards. And if you don't know Liza yet, you're going to love her. Liza is a hairstylist entrepreneur, a 17-year Great Lengths hair extensionist, and the creator of Xtensionistas Strand Stand, which makes applying extensions faster, more efficient, and much more beautiful. Two things you'll take away from this conversation is, one, that yes, you can absolutely do anything that you want in this industry and you get to do it your way. And number two, confidence is key. If confidence is an area that you feel you're lacking in, you will be completely inspired to be your most confident self after this episode. When I first met Liza on Instagram and inside our program, Liza had been doing extensions, but she wasn't super active on social media and had not yet posted on Instagram stories. Let me tell you something. Liza found her spark, and it seemed as though overnight she had this magic wand and just completely, radically transformed her social media and her clientele. And I'll let her give you all the details on this. Liza is just a perfect example of a stylist who was ready. She was ready for it, ready to take her business to the next level, and she was really prepared to take inspired action. Liza is a fully booked hair extensionist now, of course, and she works on her terms. She's a fantastic mom of three, and she's about to be your new hair bestie. Get ready to be inspired by Liza's story. Liza, I am so excited you're here today on the podcast.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here.
You're one of my favorite people in the whole world, and I love that we've become friends throughout our journey together in growing, our businesses via Instagram and social media and all the things. There's so many things I love about you, but one of the things that I think is so cool and inspiring that I wanted to share with the people listening today is that you are really an all-around entrepreneur when it comes in the hair industry. Like, you just do all the things, and I find it so inspiring. Your enthusiasm is so inspiring. Your confidence is just, it makes other people want to go, yeah, I want to be like that too. I want to do that. And you are a lover of the industry and a lover of hairstylists. And I've heard you say that, and I totally see it within you. And that's just what I wanted to chat about today is, well, let's go back. Like, how did you get started in the industry? How did you get so excited about it? And what have you created so far?
Oh, well, thank you for all that. Thank you so much, which is the original reason I joined your community. So back to the beginning, I started doing hair. This year, I will actually be licensed 20 years. Which is amazing, wow. Crazy to say out loud. I went to the Palm Mitchell School, which was an amazing school. And I had in Costa Mesa, it was right when those schools were first out. So I love sharing that because there's so many schools now. That was the first one in California. So I was so lucky to go there.
Wow.
And yes. And then I got offered a job in Claremont, in the Claremont Village, California, which is such a cute area. Being in a downtown village is always fun. And, I loved it. So I have worked there, I worked there all the way up until 2020. And from there, I got a small studio in the same city and kind of was just ready to go off on my own during the shutdowns and whatnot. And it was the timing. The timing was right for me, just to kind of spread my wings and do something new and do something I hadn't done before and really be completely on my own. And it's worked out really great. So back in 2005, I started doing Great Lengths extensions. So I just grew to love those extensions and loved being able to perform a service and make so much money, more money than when I was cutting and coloring. So
Yeah,
my
awesome.
passion and love for extensions really started then. So I'd been licensed, about 5 years at that point in time. So from there, I was always kind of just struggling to build extension clientele because, Great Lengths are expensive. And I wasn't really willing to do any other extensions just for lots of different reasons. I was afraid to maybe, ruin someone's hair. I had experiences like that where I had bad extensions and I have really fine hair. So I was just kind of always keeping those things in mind. So yes, sorry. So from there, then I got a great opportunity working in Claremont and I loved it. And I did really well at that salon. So from there, I had 3 babies and, that affects your working schedule, right? So then I was used to working 5 days a week, being available 5 days a week or whenever, and being the yes girl, yeah, I can take you at this day, this time. Once I had my kids, that really changed everything. I went down to working 3 days a week. So from there, when I would do extensions, it really made me see a difference in what I was making that week and that month. When I started doing hair, have to remember, Instagram wasn't around.
Me neither.
Right? Yeah. I was back taking photos. I have them. I post them on my Instagram every so often, but I originally started taking photos with disposable cameras.
Was it disposable camera? Yeah, mine was, I had like the little Sony something. I like swiped it to open it and the pictures. And I used to take pictures. I had like a white door that I had a white blind and I would just lower the blind so there was like a white background. I'll just have to show it to you. I will make a reel and a video and post it on YouTube. I have a little photo album that I printed out all my pictures of my before and afters that I used to keep in my little studio.
To see that, I have one too where I printed them out and I stuck them in there so that, new clients, I was trying to do the best way to, do these great consultations. And that's what I did too. I printed them out, stuck them in this book. And so then I would show clients that. So that was then, right? So then when you started your community, something that I really wanted to learn from you was how to take great pictures and kind of how to work Instagram. I saw so much success from you. I thought your work was amazing. And that's, how I started following you originally was your beautiful extensions, your gorgeous purple hair, and just your whole vibe and energy, right? So I will say, like, for me, and I'm just sure that people can relate to it. You think, oh, it costs this much, right? So for me, and I've shared this, I know it's on video already, but I didn't tell my husband because I didn't know what to do. I just knew that I needed to join you. So I did. And something that I learned that was a huge light bulb for me just in general was not worrying about how much an investment is going to cost, because what you're going to get back out of it, you just can't even predict. And for me, so much came out of it. So when I joined you, something that that struck with me that I really wanted to learn how to do was making money online, right? So going back a little bit, during that time, I had just started selling a lot of my clothes on Poshmark. Like I buy like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is really fun. So you take, great picture and you post it on Poshmark and then people will actually buy your stuff. And so that was really fun for me. I loved it. I love waking up in the morning, getting a notification. Oh, you sold, this sold. And I'd be like, oh my gosh. And I would get up early and I would box it up and take it to the post office on the way to work. So after a while, I thought, gosh, like, wouldn't it be cool if I could do something like this, like for hair, right? Like something more that pertains like to being more useful, not so much as a hobby, right? So, so then when I joined your community, that was something that really struck me, was making money online. So from there, I had gotten like a cheap little hair extension stand because per your education, I started within the first few weeks of joining your community, I was getting extension consultations. I was getting extension consultations and text messages at like 1 to 2 times a week right away. It was really crazy. And that was just me following your photo advice, lighting advice. And then something that was really big for me that I didn't do before was my Instagram story. And I actually love doing my Instagram story now, but it was something I just wasn't familiar with at the time. And I really didn't know how to work it. So I didn't.
I remember that it was like that was a light bulb moment for you. And it was like as soon as you went to town on your Instagram stories and went through the steps of like, share this, share this, share this, like this is the method for every week, you were like, holy crap, it's a miracle, it's magic. This just like, I have the consultations are just like, it's like they're falling from the sky.
It was so crazy to me that it was a huge thing, but just something so small, just a small tool. And I just had to do it, just wake up and do it. And I mean, now, and I don't remember then when I would do it, but now I wake up, I drink my coffee, I do my Instagram story, and I'm done. I mean, that's it. I try to simplify my social media as much as possible because I know a lot of people can relate to it's, exhausting, it's tiring, they don't have time, or they're so busy in the salon, they feel like they don't have time, or they just don't want to. I have many friends of mine that are like, you're so good at your social media. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I enjoy it. And
it shows.
That I was just going to say, yeah, my friend to me, she worked at a salon and she ended up being at my studio building currently. And she said to me, I was working at this salon and I feel like they did social media and there was a lot of ego behind it. She goes, see, I look at you and you're someone, I look at it and I can tell that you just love it. And she goes, and I didn't really like it there because of that, because I don't really like my social media. And I thought, wow, and this is somebody I don't know that well. And I thought it was really, really a compliment to me that she said that. And that it shows, and I'm so glad it does, because it really is fun to me, and I love that I enjoy it. I love that I can have fun with it, and I love that it can make me money by bringing in clients, and clients are seeing my personality behind the stories, and that's something that you really showed me and taught me in the very beginning, and I've carried with me over the course of 3 years or how long it's been that I've been through your coaching.
The cool thing now is that by showing up as yourself, which you do, and having fun, and it's all about the energy that you bring to anything and everything, not just your services and your clients, but also like, hey, social media, it's a free marketing and advertising tool. Like the energy and enthusiasm that you bring to that, your dream clients, your future clients, people that are interested in extensions, they get to see you and know you and fall in love with you before they even come into your salon. So they know exactly who you are, exactly what you're about. And then saying yes is easy. They don't have to choose, who am I going to go to? And because they already know, like, listen, I'm going to Liza because I love her. I love seeing what she posts online. Like, I just get her, I connect with her. And it makes it that much easier and effortless for when, okay, well, your extensions are $4,000 for them to say, okay, great, I'm in.
Yeah, a lot of clients now have come in and say, I followed you for so long. And, maybe they've been wanting to get extensions and they haven't yet, or maybe they went to someone else that was closer to them location wise, or someone else, maybe if they thought they were cheaper or whatever. And when they come to me now, it's like they're ready. They know it's expensive. I had a client just 2 weeks ago. Gosh, she's beautiful. I posted her. She's my most recent blonde on my Instagram. If you want to look, she's just gorgeous. She's actually, I didn't want to say this in the post, but she's actually a prison guard, and she's this gorgeous blonde lady. And she was just so interesting. And that's something I love about hair, is just the interesting people that sit in our chair. But anyway, when I told her the price and then she wanted to overnight the hair, she had an event going on with her husband the next week. We needed to do it and do it now. So I told her the price, and then she goes, oh my gosh. And then I said, well, your hair is a decent length. We can always fill it in and do, 2 bundles instead of 4, and then it'll be a little bit less. And she looked at my assistant and started laughing and said, oh no, girl, we're doing the full thing.
Good.
And then I looked at her and I looked at my assistant and I said, I love this lady, right? That was really fun. So I feel like people expect it now from me, and I feel like they expect it really because of what I do show on my social media. They know that, it's good. The work is good. They see it. and they're ready to spend the money. And so again, I mean, that's really something that you taught me and that your coaching has brought me to being confident and being okay if they are almost going to pass out from the price. I have to be okay with that. But when they see and feel my confidence into what I'm promising them and the way that I go about the consultation, I just feel like my confidence makes them confident in my work.
100%. 100%.
I have had people say to me during consultations, wow, you're so confident. So I want to do it, so maybe they're like not confident at first, but then in the end they are, because I've showed them that it's okay. I'm confident, and it puts them at ease, and then they're ready to like drop that cash, drop that money.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the biggest reason, well, you are an expert, and so many people are experts at maybe applying in the technique, but you have to exude that confidence also in the consultation and just with the experience around the client, because they want to feel, the ultimate feeling that they want is feeling comfortable and confident in you and handing their investment over to you, and that they don't have to worry about anything else. It's hands off for them. They don't need to nickel and dime. They don't need to know all the details. They just need to know, listen, it's in your hands. I feel comfortable. I'm at ease. Like you said, I think that's a great word to use. And all I'm waiting for is the outcome. And it's going to be perfect.
So often they're like, just do your thing. Like, just do your thing. And I love that. I do enjoy having to adjust to people's personalities. So that's something that I'm good with. And I feel like even back when I was at my big salon that had like 30, 40 stylists, when I was young in my 20s, I would get those difficult clients. They would give them to me because they knew that I would be a great fit to make them feel comfortable.
Totally.
Yeah. So I love adjusting to that now with my extension clients.
That actually is a technique for communication. I know you do it naturally, and I do too. I can get along with anyone, no matter their background or any kind of environment I'm in. But what that is that you're doing and is mirroring. It's mirroring someone's energy and their personality, and people like to be around, be involved, to book with, whatever it may be, not just in the hair industry, literally across the board. It can be a coaching situation, a client, a hair client. So in our instance, like mirroring the energy, the way someone speaks, their body language. Number one, you can pick it up. There are people who cannot pick it up. And that's when we meet people, you're like, wow, that was awkward as fuck. Because the person that like the energies are not matched at all. It would be like, for example, if someone's sitting back in their seat, very casual and relaxed, having a conversation, and the other person is leaning forward with both elbows on the table, like very aggressive and forward. And it's just an uncomfortable conversation where when at least one of the people are mirroring the other person's energy, it's much more relaxed and calm, at ease. So it's definitely a natural gift that you have, and it's also can be a learned skill for people to go, okay, you need to match the energy of the person that's in your suite with you. And it doesn't mean that you're not being yourself. It doesn't mean, because you're still you. You're just making them feel comfortable. If someone's very quiet, they're reserved and introverted, you don't want to, barge in and say, hey girl, da 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 da, like all this stuff about extensions, because you literally will scare them. So we could probably talk about that for a long time, but let's save that for another podcast. I want to go back to selling online. Like that was inspiring to you, and you took that and went in your own direction. Talk about that a little bit.
I had started doing so many extensions and getting so many inquiries per your coaching, which was amazing.
That makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Oh my God, I love it. I know I can't say all that without then saying that, because it really,
well, thank you. Thank you.
So yes. Back to what I said before about coaching, joining the community. Oh, it costs, X amount of dollars. I just want to say I made back that money that I was afraid to spend within, honestly, 2 weeks of joining.
Let's just say that again. That was amazing.
I did. Once I started applying your social media tips to my Instagram, I made my money back for joining the community within 2 weeks. And
That is fabulous.
and it honestly, it put me at ease, and it really just showed me, and I've carried it ever since then, not to be afraid to spend money and investing in my business and being able to spend money. I was raised in a really frugal household, and I was taught to save your money. I feel like in this day and age, we're being more taught to invest our money, and that's more my mindset. So that was one of my very first lessons learned with that. And again, I've carried it on, right?
You had the evidence. You had your own personal life evidence of, oh, I invested. I can tangibly see that I made my investment back. But what I will say about you is that you did the damn thing. Like, you put it to work. Often people, not necessarily in this, but just in life in general, people make an investment and think, well, I made the investment. Why is so and so not falling out of the trees? Now, it may happen sometimes, but you are someone who followed the steps, took the knowledge and applied it fast. And you're an action taker. So I love that.
Thank you. And you know what? The thing is too, I was ready for that. I was looking for that and I was seeking that. You know, I think my daughter must have been 2. So I had a 2-year-old, 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. So I was at the point where I was just at home a lot and wanting to, like, how can I work in the hair industry from home? How can I make some money when I'm home with the kids from home? What can I do? So I definitely had that in the back of my mind. So in that same time,
so real quick, so you wanted to basically maximize your extension business and bring in clients, but then you were also like, but I also want to make money when I'm home.
Right. So it's like, okay, so for me for a long time, it was doing my social media.
Yes.
And again, a lot of people around me would be like, how do you have time for that? It's so exhausting. It's so much more work. It's this. And I'm like, dude, I'm sitting on the couch watching SpongeBob all day. Like, it's not work to me. Like, that's what I want to be doing, you know, like.
And it is it's a money making activity. Now, scrolling and sitting watching SpongeBob is not a money making activity. Looking at, getting stuck on TikTok, thinking, well, I'm working because I'm saving videos, ideas and videos. That's maybe, but not really. A money making activity is what you did.
Yeah, I will say like for me, and I'm sure people can relate to this, like when I'm scrolling Instagram, like if you look at my Instagram, my Facebook, it's like literally all hair stuff and shopping, which whatever I buy, I wear to work so I can look good and, create that image for myself, for my clients, right? Sure. So that it all kind of ties into like fashion and hair. So for me, if I'm not posting, I'm being inspired. Or I'm catching up with my friends who are in the industry, seeing what they're doing this week, today, whatever, So it's like I'm always being inspired. So per my social media, I had gotten a very small, again, because I was doing so many extensions all of a sudden because I joined your program. So I had gotten this cheap little hair stand. Actually, my best friend had gotten one and I thought, oh my gosh, I need that as well. So I grabbed one like from some cheap place down the street. It was okay. It basically looked similar to my strand stand, but my strand stand, for anyone that may not know, it's actually 2 feet tall. It's 24 inches. And I designed it that way to hold 24-inch Great Lengths hair. That's our longest length, right? Or what I use is my longest length.
Yes.
So this little stand, it was okay, but I started getting people from all these different states. And the date actually it was Valentine's Day. I remember it was raining and black outside that day. And I remember my family was visiting from Arizona. We took my daughter to ballet and I kept getting these messages on my Instagram that day. I think I got 6, 7 or 8 messages saying, where did you get that stand? Right? Well, I'd gotten it here in California. So from there, I was like, forget this. I'm making my own. This thing is kind of janky anyways. It's cheap and small. And why not design my own? It's that easy. And a friend and I had talked about it, and she was going to do it, but she owns a salon. She had a lot going on. So anyway, she's like, why don't you do that? And I said, you know what? I'm going to.
Yes.
So I found a maker. And from there, I started just basically sending measurements and just designing it how I wanted it and what was going to work for me. And at that point, I thought whatever's going to work for me will work for other stylists that do similar extensions. So that's kind of how, that's really how the Strand Stand came about. So it took about 6 months, and then I started shipping them out in August. And I had all the people that had asked me, I told them I was in the process of designing it and all that stuff between the time, as it was being designed and people were asking me, I was just telling them that I was having one designed and whatnot. And by August, I believe I shipped out about 10 right when I got them. And that was another thing. It was an investment. It was a couple $1,000s. So from there, once I found a maker for these things, I just went back and forth with him. And I was so lucky to find someone good. Whenever I hit him up, and everything, he would always get right back to me. And the samples would come within the week that I ordered them. I would take it to work and I would play with it. And I think I sent it back 3 or 4 times, just perfecting the angles, the measurements, all the details. And then again, by August, they were all being shipped out, and it was so much fun for me. So from there, I had a few people, and a lot of them were from the Rich Stylist community. A lot of people saying, oh, you should make a flat one, or, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And I was like, I'm down. Okay, great. We'll do that. So then that was August that I got the Strand Stands out. So then by December, I had 2 different flat stands designed. And then by, I think it was like New Year's time, I shipped out about 15. So I'd had about 15 pre-orders by then. And so it was like, boom, within a year, I had 3 products. And then I added t-shirts because, why not? Why can't we all be matching at work, right?
Yeah.
So what was so cool to me and like amazing, and I never thought would happen, was being able to connect with people in all different states. And then I would have to look back at my records, but I shipped 2 to Canada right away, 2 Strand Stands. They were to Kayla. We know Kayla.
Yes.
And I know I've shipped to Germany. There's a few, I should know, but there's quite a few that have gone to Europe. So
that is amazing
to me that these people just through Instagram, just through the internet, were like, hey, can I buy one? And I'm like, the shipping's $100. Are you okay with that? They're like, yes, they are. I'm like, awesome. Oh my gosh. It was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And again, that original investment into your community, that I was worried about spending, like, hello, look how it came back to me. I never could have imagined when I clicked, to join your community, I never could have imagined what it was going to bring me. I never could have predicted it. And from there, my business has just grown so much.
And you honestly just shine. Everything you do is amazing. Your confidence, your enthusiasm, your can I say that word? Entrepreneurial skills are next level. Now, by the way, I just want to describe to those listening what the Strand Stand looks like. It's this beautiful, like you said, 24 inches tall, acrylic stand.
Which that's just kind of what I found originally. I didn't plan for it to even look a certain way. But a lot of people tell me how much they love it because it's clear and pretty. And then I feel like all the clear furniture is coming back anyways.
I love all the clear stuff. It's so pretty. My bookshelf behind me is acrylic. Yeah, I just love it.
Aesthetically, what my stands look like. And for me, I have a studio now. So I have all my stands displayed and my clients love them. And then a little secret to everyone, if you ever purchase one or those that have them, if you do have the space to be able to display, I have a beautiful set of clip-ins that match my studio. They're a pastel pink with lavender ends, and it matches the paint in my studio. And so it's always hanging on there. It looks beautiful. So it's a beautiful way to make a beautiful hair display in your salon. And it strikes up conversations with clients. And It's always
Absolutely.
the same hair. Like I don't touch it. Like it's the same hair on the strand stand that I have for my like decor. Constantly the same clients over and over that come in. They're like, oh, who's that hair for? It's so pretty. Like they forget that it's always there.
You're like, it's the same one you've seen the last 7 appointments.
2 years. Yeah.
No, I mean, what you're sharing is absolutely true, and I was going to say that as well. But the strand stand is just beautiful in your salon. I think everyone listening needs one. Honestly, I hope you use it, but even if you didn't even use it, I think you should buy it for display purposes. It's beautiful. Number one, it matches basically any salon aesthetic, and it is a conversation starter. If you want to do more extensions, start with the clientele that you already have coming in your chair for colors and cuts or whatever type of services. Showcase, you can do it with clip-ins, or you could hang bundles or the wefts of hair, just something very beautiful, of course, brushed through, not tangly. It needs to be aesthetically pleasing. The strand stand already does that for you. It's gorgeous, but you can hang the hair there. Absolutely, without a doubt, if you're doing extensions, you have to have the strand stand. In my opinion, I'm just telling you, you have to go get it. It's in the show notes, but you have to hang your hair there and display it. You will be shocked at how many conversions you'll have, or as I call it, there's a module in Rich Stylist called upgrading your current clientele, which is taking the clientele you already have and upgrading them to extensions. It's a great way to do that. Back when, speaking of talking about before social media, Liza, what we spoke about in the beginning, with my little photo album that I had of my pictures that I took, and something that I had, of course, there wasn't a strand stand back then, but I had a janky, like I had painted it. It was basically like a wall hanging that I had just painted black. I had put hooks in it, and it was like behind, like if it was behind the client, so they could see it in the mirror as they were looking towards the mirror getting their hair done. And I hung bundles of hair, like different textures, wavy textures, ombre, like all these different ones. I probably had 5 or 6 bundles of hair of different brands at the time. I was using some different brands. I also had my tinsel hanging there. I had my rhinestone extensions hanging, and that janky wall hanging made me so much money because people, they wanted to walk up and touch it and feel it. Oh, what's that back there? Like, oh, that's my extensions. Have you heard about extensions? Like, it was just such a conversation starter, and it did make me so much money. What's even prettier is the strand stand. So it's much more aesthetically pleasing to have in your salon, and it's much easier. So and the flat stand too is awesome, but as far as display purposes,
As far as display, for sure. Like the strand stand, it's tall, it's, all those things. It's great too, like if someone's just started doing extensions, or even a salon owner that maybe they don't do hair, but they want their salon to be doing extensions.
yes.
For the case, it again, it's a really great conversation starter if someone is just learning extensions, or they just took a class and they're like, oh, I don't really know how to bring it up, or I brought it up and my client was like, oh, I don't need extensions. And that, like, they don't know how to be like, oh, well, how do you know you don't need them? You might not.
I'm like, here, just touch this bundle of hair. Why don't you just hold this bundle of hair as I'm doing your highlights? Trust me, within an hour, you'll be like, wow, this hair is really silky. It's really soft.
Totally. Again, like, yeah, it's just an easy way where you don't even have to say anything. They'll ask before you even bring it up.
Yes, yeah, if I was say that again, I spoke over you.
Oh, I was going to say the clients walk in and they're like, ooh, what's that?
Yes, they absolutely do. If I was a salon owner, I would put the strand stand in the reception area, and I actually would change out the hair that maybe was hanging there just to match maybe seasonally or just what was trending.
I would do that too. Yes. If I was an owner as well. Say exactly. Just so it's always changing, and yeah, making it seasonal and whatever, whatever the mood is that day.
Well, you've done so many big things, like with your business, upgrading, elevating your extension business, your clientele, your confidence, and then of course stepping into like multiple streams of income and revenue as a stylist. Let's go back, and I'm curious, what was your business like, or maybe your mindset? What was that like before deciding to be a part of Rich Stylist Academy?
Before, I was at, like I mentioned earlier, I was at the same salon for, over a decade, and I felt only working 3 days a week. I was at, I guess, a standstill. I wasn't sure how to, after just having kids, and I don't recommend being in this mindset, but at the time before I joined you, I was like, well, I wish I could raise my prices, but I just had like 3 babies in 4 years. So I felt like it might be weird to be like, oh, my prices are higher. I'd already lost people because I wasn't available 5 days a week. So a lot of my clients that didn't come back to me after I returned from maternity leave and moving my schedule from 5 days to 3 days, they were still in the salon, going to other stylists that I had referred them to. And for anyone that is having kids or wants to have a baby and is so worried about, their clientele, their work, whatever the case, just know that it's going to be the clients that are more about themselves and their own schedule that don't typically come back to you. There are those. And so I just had to be okay with that. Right. So I was cramming a lot of colors, cuts and colors into 3 days. And it was just getting really tiresome. And then I would do extensions maybe once a month at that point in time. And
That's what I was going to ask you. So you were doing extensions a little bit before. Yeah.
I always had my Great Lengths certification. I never got it frozen because, for anyone that may not know, Great Lengths does freeze your account if you're not purchasing hair, because it means you're not doing clients. I never had that happen. I felt so lucky. I never had that happen. I was always doing clients. So I wanted to do more. I would have loved to do once a week, do a Great Lengths, do a Great Lengths once a week, and then colors, the other 2 days. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of what I was aspiring to do, so that when I was there those 3 days, I was making more money. I was getting a little bit tired of just doing, I had a lot of gray root touch-ups, and those were actually from a stylist that had left me her clientele in the very beginning. I had a little base clientele that I started with. So I was just getting a little I think maybe it just felt repetitive. So at that point, I again was ready when I saw your program getting started. I thought, wow, this is amazing. I followed her forever. I can't believe that she's going to share her tips and tricks and social media advice. I better jump on this. So that is basically where I was. And right away, all of your things that you were teaching us, I applied them and it started working right away.
That's so awesome. I love that. A couple fun questions. First of all, what has been the highest ticket service or the highest price extension service since being a part of Rich Stylist Academy?
So my highest ticket I've charged 2 or 3 times, if I remember correctly, has been $3,800. And with that, I was also tipped $400 cash.
Yes, girl.
Really, really cool. Unexpected and incredible.
I bet that felt awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. I couldn't believe it. And the feeling I feel, the energy I feel, the adrenaline is what makes me love all of this so much. The industry, extensions, everything I do, the community that I'm in, the support that I have, because that's when it's all yes, it's working,
Yeah. And you're like, I could do this all night long. I'm running on adrenaline and yeah, making bank.
Well, the last one I did that was that high ticket, we started at 6 and we ended at midnight. She was my midnight mermaid, I called her.
Yes. Well, hey, when it's fun and you're making great money, you're like, okay, the energy just naturally comes to you, it seems like.
And something I'll say as well, just with that, we had to do that because now my schedule, I only work Tuesday and Thursday. I don't work Saturdays anymore just because of my family life. I just can't. Every once in a while for someone special, I will. But I like doing the Tuesday, Thursday because that client specifically that we did that late, she was a last minute one. And she's just one of those that's I need to be ready for her at any time. And sure. So she was like, hey, is there any way by the grace of the hair gods, can you do me this week? And I'm like, well, actually I offered her Friday. What did I offer her? I offered her a few days like the weekend, even like Sunday, like I didn't care because obviously like for that amount, I will do anything. But she's like, I work all those days. And I'm like, okay, cool. So is our only option like Friday night? And she's like, basically. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we did it. My studio is on the way home. So my husband picked up my kids and she's like, I don't care if your kids stayed here. I'm like, yeah, right. So anyway, she was just a really cool client. And so that's how we did it. I took my kids with me. They were there for an hour. My hubby picked him up on his way home and we were there the rest of the night. We ordered dinner and we had a great time. So it was, well worth it. It was super fun. You can't beat that high dollar ticket.
No, you can't. And they're happy about it too. That's the thing. It's not like an icky, like, oh, I can't believe it's that much. They're like, thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Yep. Totally. So, yep, that's the highest ticket. I love it.
I'm so happy you shared that and the tip. That was awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's super inspiring.
Expected was a tip like that. It's just so cool.
At midnight.
It shows their appreciation, I feel like, too. And that makes me feel really good. Really good. Not just the money factor, but the fact that they're willing to value the service that you just gave them, and they understand the value in your work, in you, what they just invested in, to then give you that much extra, to me is just so generous and wonderful. And there's just no better feeling too when you're charging a high dollar like that makes you understand that your clients appreciate it.
I was, what was I reading or watching something? Anyway, it was about CEOs and how they scheduled their day. And it reminded me of what you just said, which was, I work Tuesday, Thursday now, which is epic, by the way. I work 2 days a week now, but I have time. You've allowed time for 911 hair emergencies. And what they said about CEOs, and I'm talking like of multi-million, billion-dollar companies, CEOs, that CEOs actually schedule on purpose a lot of free time. Not just free like I'm going golfing, like open time, because CEOs don't pack their schedule tight, meeting back to back to back all day long, 5 days a week, because they have to have time and flexibility to fix things for emergencies, for last minute clients or calls. Like they actually have to have that open space, because sometimes they are the only people who can go in and make it happen, or close the deal, or take care of the client, or if something's fallen apart, they have to be the one that fixes it. And if they have literally no time, they don't have time to do what they do best, which is run the company the way it needs to be, or lead the company. So it makes sense, girl. Mm-hmm.
I've been doing that about the last year, because last year, I would say in the fall time, I kept having that happen. And I needed more time for those hair emergencies. And I was tired of.
Which hair emergencies are the people that are worth your time? Let's get that, like, just so people listening, it's not Susie Q down the street. These are people that are like, hey, it's worth it if I drop everything, because they are my very elite hair extension clients.
Exactly. And that is exactly what was happening. And the last thing I was wanting to do was not be able to do them when I had, a gray root touch up at like 4 o'clock.
Right.
So I last year stopped doing people past, like, I don't take a color. The latest I take a color now is 2 o'clock, sometimes 3 o'clock once in a while, but I have to get home. And then again, it allows me to not be exhausted, number one. And number two, it allows me time to be able to, like, I have a lot of girls that come from LA and they're like, hey, I know it's last minute, but I'm going to New York and I really want my extensions back. Is there any way you can do it like next week, this week, or next week, whatever? And I can always say yes. And so it's really worked out. So again, I've been doing that for about the last year, and it is so worth it.
Yeah. I mean, you've done that on purpose. You've done that on purpose so that you can serve your elite clientele, because you know what they want. And it's like, hey, sometimes they are kind of, let's just say it, hot mess last minute, but that's why your prices, are also higher. And that's why they also tip you well. They know how much you take care of them. And it's so important. Thank you for sharing that.
There's nothing better than a $3,800 bonus when you're not expecting it.
Absolutely. I mean, what you made that week was you made $4,000, a little bit more for that week in income. So yeah.
I think one time I did just do her because it was that's what I did, and it was great. It was amazing. And
well, it's a 4K day.
Those are the days and those are the weeks I'm just like blown away by everything I've learned from your community and been able to apply and just see it all working. It's just awesome. I love it.
You are the example of of doing it right, keeping the passion, keeping the enthusiasm, continuing the knowledge and the inspiration and education. Like, you are literally the poster child for it. And I'm so happy we're like in this community together. Speaking of that, what would you say is the most valuable part of being a part of Rich Stylist Academy?
The most valuable part is definitely, and I felt this from the very beginning, connecting with other like-minded hairstylists and hairstylists that are wanting to learn and wanting to grow and wanting to progress. That to me was something that, another thing that when I joined, I didn't really know what to expect. And that really surprised me. And there were just so many days where I would look to the group for support, encouragement, connection, really connection, just connection. That was actually my word originally when you told us to choose a word, connection was my word. And it's that to me was absolutely priceless. I have, so many long-term friends that I feel like it's just one of those things where we're like always going to be connected through the internet because everyone's like in different states and stuff. And it's something that I never expected, or I didn't really have friends through the internet before, where we live so far away and could connect and talk and support each other. And that for me was absolutely huge and something that I never knew that I needed. And that was a huge part of my success, is just knowing that I have this community behind me. And if I'm ever struggling, all I have to do is post it on there, and it's everyone's just going on. If a couple of times I posted a client, God, this client, I can't take it today, whatever. And it's I have, because I've been in the community for a couple of years now, I have all these DMs in my Instagram, because, sometimes you don't want to post stuff, people don't want to comment right on the post. Sometimes everyone's DMing me, what happened? That, that bitch or whatever. And it's that's all I needed was my friends.
I needed a pep talk.
Has been huge, absolutely huge, and a game changer for me.
Having the connection is everything. I see that for myself too. And I think what's interesting is that, there are other communities, and again, a lot of masterminds and communities online and such, they're for 6 months or they're for 12 months. And like you said, you've been a part of this for around 3 years, this community. And so anytime, it's not just hey, we're going to do this 6 or 12 months and then we're done. You're not part of the community anymore, that kind of thing. It was really important for me with Rich Stylist. I was this is a lifetime community. I don't even want to say membership, because that sounds like it's a 12-month thing. It's you're in it for life. It's a community. And again, you being a part of it for 3 years are still very active. You post, you share, inspire people in the group. And it's unlike anything I've ever seen, because other communities I've been a part of in the past, it's just sometimes the newness wears off and the inspiration and connection wears off, and that doesn't happen. It is just everyone is still there for each other, whether they're brand new day one or hey, been there since day one a few years ago. So I love that the community and the connection is still there and on fire. I actually think even better than it was on day one. So thank you for sharing that.
I think so too. That's what I was going to say. You've grown the community so much. I mean, it's just amazing, and you're always doing new things and integrating new things. And I mean, it's really amazing.
Thank you. Well, that was my commitment to it. I thought, well, if I do this, before I started Rich Stylist, I was if I do this, I have to make it something that I know without a shadow of a doubt, I am so totally and fully interested in, and I'm not going to be uninterested in it in a while. And I knew, what am I obsessed with? Extensions. I'm obsessed with extensions. I'm great at extensions, and I can help others, and I don't get tired of it. Like it's just like, it's a part of me. It's so natural, and I love helping people feel better in their life, feel better in their business, make more money, all the things. So I knew that, okay, this is going to be it. This is going to be the community. It's going to be the ultimate, and it's going to be forever. I don't want to have just a churn and burn, like a 6 months in, a 12 month, like, no, I want connections very important to me. I want you guys to be connected, but like, I want to build connections with people, because it's so important to grow, and I want to be able to see people through to their success, and the different levels of their success. And that's what makes it fun for me. So that's why it is the way that it is. It was like, this is it. This is going to be the thing. And it keeps getting better. So, and because of people like you, yeah, keep being a part of it. What would you say, Liza, to stylists that are interested in Rich Stylist Academy? Maybe they've taken a look, but they just don't know. They're just unsure. What would you share with them ultimately?
I would just say, don't be afraid to try something new. Trying something new is, like I mentioned earlier, you just don't know what's going to come out of it. And sometimes that's what's so amazing. Again, I never could have predicted the friends I would have made, the connections I would have made, the ideas that I got from my own business, being inspired from you, Ashley, Alex, as well, like tech wise, and all the other stylists that I've connected with. I really never could have predicted that. And it's helped my business so much. I imagine if I hadn't done it, I'm like, where would I be? Would I still be doing the same thing? So it's like, if you're doing the same thing, something huge for me when I didn't know, I'm like, oh, should I do this? Which I didn't think about it for very long, because I knew I was going to. But something that really made me want to join was wanting to make more money in the salon and not knowing how. So I just figured, you are so successful in your business, and offering your education to me was just something that I absolutely had to do. Otherwise, I was just afraid I was just going to kind of stay the same. So basically, it was like wanting to level up my business and not knowing how. So I would recommend for anybody that's feeling that same way, just to do it, and you won't regret it.
Just to jump in. Yeah.
Just to jump in. Yeah. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it is a lot of how I do things.
And it works.
Work out pretty well. Yeah.
It has worked out excellent for you. Yes.
And you know what, just to add to that, I have taken classes. I have done things that maybe didn't turn out how I wanted, or I thought, I was already doing that. Cool. Okay, great. I'm on the right path. Mm-hmm. I think that it's so worth it. Even when you feel that way, then you won't think about it anymore. So I think regardless, when you're interested in something, you should just do it, because then you've checked it off your list. You've done it. But joining something like this is absolutely priceless. Having a community like this is priceless. And I just don't think it's something we have in our industry. And that was something huge that struck me, and that I really thought about. I think I thought about joining for like one day, and then I joined the next day. But it was like, in my head, I was like, we don't have anything like this in our industry. Like, this is actually what I think I need. And not only that, I was again able to do it from home. Like I was saying earlier, I was looking for things to like do at home. So it was something I could do on my own time at home with my earpods in.
Right. It wasn't like you had to go to the class. Yeah.
I really loved that aspect. Really worked for me as well.
Thank you so much, Liza. It's been so valuable. I'm always so grateful when you share your expertise and your stories. I know that it's valuable for the listeners. And by the way, everything's in the show notes. So guys, Liza's information, Xtensionistas, the Strand Stand, all the things are in the show notes. So you have to go follow Liza, go check her out. Liza and I will actually be back soon. We're going to do another podcast on working well and working seamlessly with an assistant to help support your extension business. So that will be coming up in the future. And again, thank you, Liza. Love your face. Love you so much.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Ashley. It's just been such a pleasure being a part of your group. I love it and love everyone in it, and can't wait to do this again.
Would you like to be the highest paid hair extensionist in your city? 86% of stylists make $3,000 to $5,000 per month. But as an extensionist, you can make that kind of money in one single day. If you're already certified by one of the top companies and you want to make the most money possible with that certification, then I'd love to invite you to discover Rich Stylist Academy. This is an elite mentorship where I give you the secrets to attracting the best clients, doing the best transformations, and making the most money. Stylists in this mentorship commonly have 3K days, $10,000 months, and 6-figure years. Space is very limited as we only accept 10 stylists per month to this mentorship. Click the link and fill out the quick free application and see if it's a fit for you.